Yeah, what's going on? It's your boy. You know what I mean? Today, what I'm going to show you is to track out from Maschine into Pro Tools, separate your kick, snares, hi-hats, whichever they may be, mono and stereo. So I'm setting up a session right now. I'm going to name it Maschine template. You know, I know there's several different ways to do this. I think this way, increases my workflow depending on the DAW that you're using. You know, Logic, Nuendo, Cubase, whichever it may be. Like I said, there might be different ways, but this helps me move fast if I'm not tracking out of the MPC or any other different workstation or drum machine. So what I did right now, I created a stereo instrument track, and I'm gonna load Maschine as a audio unit, stereo, on an insert, throw it on any one, A, E, whichever. So that's loading up. But yeah, like I said, this is good when you want to mix it out, get your sounds right, you have a better palette to play with when you want to craft your sounds in the mix. So next I'm going to create a stereo auxiliary track. I'll explain why. And then next I'm gonna create 8 mono audio tracks. 8. So what we're trying to do, we're gonna get the outputs from the machine into each track that you set up. So the output from Maschine into each track. So got that set up. Now we're gonna go into the input of track 1. We're gonna go 2 left, track 2, 3 left, track 3, 4 left. The reason why I'm doing this is because these are the outputs that you're gonna assign from out of the machine, so it can be routed into Pro Tools in these tracks. I start off with 2 because I think the main track of Maschine output is 1. So as you can see, I only have the left tracks on the input because it's mono. So if it was stereo, it would just say mono 2, mono 3, mono 4, so on and so forth. So I'm in the machine now. I'm loading up a project, whichever. Nothing crazy, but just to show you, give you an example, of how you can track out in Pro Tools. I find this convenient because I use the MPC, I use different various drum machines and stations like that, and Maschine doesn't have a stereo, a mono out. So yeah, it doesn't have a mono out, so this is very convenient. Like I said, you can craft your sounds. So I'm gonna change the BPM real quick just to see. You know what I mean? See, I got that going on right there. Let me load down the BPM real quick. Alright, so basically, like I said, you don't see no signal there because we haven't enabled the tracks. This is very important. The same inputs you set on the tracks in Pro Tools, you have to match it with the output coming out of Maschine. So out 2, 3, 4, etc. So I'm gonna go out 2, and it's gonna go in Pro Tools 2. Out 3 is gonna Pro Tools 3. Out 4, so on and so forth. So all of these are getting routed into Pro Tools on each individual track. If it was stereo on Pro Tools, it would just say mono 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or whichever. So I'm gonna just go out, keep going out with that, whatever. You know, just a laid back track or whichever. Alright, stop that. Now I'm gonna record and enable these tracks. So we're gonna start it up. Oops. Bang. Now the tracks, as you can see, they're about to start kicking in. You can check my meters. So we got the kick. I think that's the hi-hat, snare, clap, or whichever. These are all getting routed to their own track, their own channel. So when I'm finally done tracking, I can really craft my sounds and see, you know, what I want to EQ, what I want to compress. It doesn't make my mix muddy, you know, and I have a better sound scope of my end product, how I want it to sound. So let that keep going real quick, just to show you a little example. I didn't select any outputs on any of the piano or lead sounds. These are just the drum sounds, I think. Like I said, I just showed you so you can have like a basic idea how to set this up in your own sessions if you use a Maschine. And like I said, this is something that I like if it's easy for me. So see, I got a kick right there, solo, clap. These are all separated. These all came out of Maschine all together. I got a hi-hat, a kick, another boom. Now I can mix those and craft those the way that I like it. There's this plugin called TT Dynamic Range Meter, made by Brainworks. Shout out to Brainworks. You know, this is a pretty cool plugin. I get to monitor my input so I can have a healthy signal coming in. So I sent it to a bus 1 and 2. So any sounds that I'm monitoring the main machine, and it shows you my average level, my peak level. You know, average is what I can feel, the peak is what my meters and hardware sees. So that's another way I can really control the scope of my sound, you know. But like I said, you know, you could try this out. This is pretty easy for me. My workflow, it makes my workflow fast. If I have to track out a machine with projects that I have, old projects, things like that, you may do it differently, but it works for me, and you got to do what works for you. So once again, it's your boy Carter Fact. Follow me at Carter FAC, Twitter and Instagram. You know what I mean? Keep tracking. FYI. Alright.